Oh, we missed it is the only criticism I'm hearing at the moment. Is this serious? I thought maybe the national anthem was over. The game has only just begun. Even if we may be in the first inning, the curve is barely at its knee, you know? A 10-year window exists for early adopters, another 10-year window for the middle 80%, and finally a 10-year window for maturity, according to an S-curve model. Not even a year into the ascent of the S-curve, and we're already in the second decade, the first 4 years that the scientific experiment doesn't truly consider. This year is genuine, though, so it's safe to conclude that you completely missed it. BitMEX research shows that the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust had $643 million in outflows on Monday, March 18th. This is the largest daily outflow for GBTC so far after the report was released. Bitcoin's price fell from over $68,000 to $62,000, its lowest point since March 5th. While prices have briefly recovered in the past few hours, it is still down 12% for the past week and about 7% today. Despite these minor setbacks, the largest bull market in Bitcoin history is only just getting started. In the months leading up to the approval of the spot Bitcoin ETFs, numerous well-known crypto investors and analysts have forecasted that the market for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies will experience an unprecedented bull run due to the flood of institutional investors. According to Mark Yusko, CIO and founder of Morgan Creek Capital, at least $300 billion will go into Bitcoin via ETFs in the next several years. To get at that number, Yusko forecasted that wealth managers would invest at least 1% of the $30 trillion they oversee in Bitcoin exchange-traded funds ETFs. Carson Group VP and investment strategist Grant Engelbart, however, reports that investors are putting an average of 3.5% into Bitcoin exchange-traded funds. The Carson Group was an early adopter of Bitcoin exchange-traded funds ETFs. Although only a small number of investors have put money into the ETFs, Grant said in a recent appearance with Bloomberg TV that the response has been far better than anticipated. The crypto bull market of 2024, according to Yusko, will mark a huge turning point for the industry, as he discussed in a recent interview with Advisor Shares. According to Yusko, the crypto market will experience parabolic moves in June 2024 and continue until June 2025. During that time, Yusko anticipates that Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and even meme coins would experience substantial price increases. You may help us out by giving us a thumbs up, subscribing to our channel, and enabling post notifications so you don't miss any of the interview clips with Yusko. Sending my regards, I hope you find the video entertaining. Even though the exciting part begins in crypto, we are already in the thick of crypto summer. Starting in June after giving birth. This has been on my mind for what feels like an eternity, the entire Get Off Zero hashtag. All around us, people are beginning to realize that 0 is the incorrect number. Everything that occurred from 0 to 19, including the early adopters, nerds, geeks, and wizards, occurred between the years 17 to 19. Also, it's not easy for people to understand in the first 10 years. However, exchange-traded funds ETFs have recently emerged, allowing buyers to avoid the device and bearer asset hassles altogether. Plus, it's quite significant. Furthermore, I do not believe that the magnitude is truly understood. To be honest, I'm impressed. A year is hardly a long time when you consider it. I see. Only a year ago, though, we were hovering around 20,000. After hitting a low of 15,000 due to Hurricane Sam, we recovered 33%. Back then, well, it seemed like everyone was going to 0. A significant disparity exists between 0 and $15,000 per coin. That number was 0 in 2009. To be clear, 0. The network was useless. That was an experiment in science. The general public was bewildered. Was anything actually accomplished today? You can see that Bitcoin is the currency of the future if you play around with it for a while. I see. What I mean by money is the most fundamental kind of currency, which is analogous to gold. Furthermore, Michael Saylor has been appearing on television recently, arguing that the devaluation of its digital property, even referring to it as a cryptocurrency, is a result of this. Also, as the number of people who understand that the market value is more than $1 trillion and the price of a coin has increased from 20,000 to over 70,000 in just a year continues to rise. A total of more than $1 trillion, up from nothing even 15 years ago. Furthermore, I would like to bring to your attention 2 really crucial points for advisors. There are actually 3 items. First one, among all the assets you may have in your clients' portfolios, Bitcoin has performed the best, 12 out of the past 15 years. And with its current winning streak, it's likely to finish 13th out of 16 teams. What gives the majority of people a 0 then? Seems to lack logic. The second point is that, among all assets over the last decade, the Sharpe ratio, which measures return relative to risk, is the best. So to reiterate, how on earth could somebody be zero? Seems to lack logic. Finally, and most importantly, there is no correlation between Bitcoin and bonds and no correlation between Bitcoin and stocks. Because of this, it is the most effective asset for diversification. By any measure, the Markowitz framework for portfolio construction is the most superior diversifying asset we have ever encountered, surpassing even hedge funds, private equity, real estate, REITs, commodities, CTAs, cannabis, and everything else. That being said, it in no way implies that those other things are bad. This one is superior. Now it has dawned on everyone that they need to jump in the pool. Binance CEO Richard Tang revises his price target for Bitcoin from $80,000 to $80,000 in 2024, notwithstanding the GBTC sell-off and price decreases. On Sunday, Tang spoke at an event in Bangkok and said that since their introduction in January, the spot Bitcoin ETFs have had substantial inflows. He also predicted that additional endowments and family offices will soon boost their allocations to the funds. Tang predicts that Bitcoin will easily surpass his previous predictions of $80,000 before the year closes, thanks to the decreased supply following the halving and higher demand from the ETFs. But the CEO of Binance pointed out that the cryptocurrency surge won't be smooth sailing, and he went on to say that the market will benefit from the inevitable fluctuations. Tang shares Yusko's view that the market is just entering its bull phase and is likely to see a period of intense volatility. Returning to the interview, let us proceed. So initially, they would build a block every 10 minutes. In addition, computers called miners are required to construct a hash of the data in order to create a block. I understand. And you pay what's called a block reward to someone to encourage them to purchase computers and pay for electricity so they can do this. Since 2009, when 50-50 Bitcoin were distributed to the miners, the process of creating new Bitcoins has been standardized to every 10 minutes. This figure is halves every 4 years. Considered in context, the brilliance of the idea is that some miners may go bankrupt if the payouts were halved. So the miners are fighting for their very survival, so following the logic of the market, they will wait for the price of Bitcoin to climb before selling. There seems to be an increase in the number of buyers and sellers, according to everyone. The number of vendors and buyers is constant, no matter what. That is the way a deal is made. The variable that changes is the price. All the time, investors are pouring money into Bitcoin exchange-traded funds ETFs, but for those funds to really purchase Bitcoin, they need to purchase. There is no other option for them. Purchasing is mandatory for them, therefore they do not care about cost. They are obligated to purchase it regardless of the price. On the flip side, vendors generally feel free to pass on the opportunity to sell. Therefore, guess what? I will not sell unless you increase the price. But if they need the money quickly, for example, to pay an electric bill, they'll say things like, I just have to sell no matter what the price is, even if the price is going down. Market forces of supply and demand must be equal. What happens, though, if the price begins to climb? That, however, generates interest, which in turn generates action. Therefore, we see these price cycles when prices begin to rise. When the price of anything, like Bitcoin, Nvidia shares, or MicroStrategy, goes up, the problem is that gamblers start to flock to it. I turn around and see how high this is getting. There's no way I won't buy it. No, have you completed any tasks? No, I'm simply going up. I intend to purchase it. So it drives the price to a whole other level. That concludes the $20,000 for 2017. The network's fair market worth was $10,000. We reached 20,000, we arrived at 68, while the network's fair worth was 31,021. The youngster eventually remarks, hey, that guy's totally naked, there will be price adjustments, the emperor will be naked, and that will be crypto winter. We went into the drain during the winter in 21.